Welcome to the John Grdina classroom, where we will explore the pillars of faith, family, fitness, and freedom with guests from all different backgrounds. In each episode, we'll uncover valuable insights and wisdom that will inspire you to strengthen your faith, deepen your family bonds, optimize your fitness journey, and embrace the freedom to live on your terms. The John Grdina Classroom is not just a podcast, it's a space for growth, reflection, and empowerment. To help reach more people who need these powerful testimonies and messages, we need your help to spread them far and wide. If you find value in what you hear today, please take a moment to share this episode on your social media platform. Your support can make a significant difference and impact in touching the lives of others seeking guidance on their journey. Also, please leave a 5-star rating on the platform that you are listening on, as this helps the algorithms to help this show get out to more people. On a special note, if you have land that you'd like to donate to my future deliverance camps, please check the show notes for details on how to connect with me via email. Your generosity can play a critical role in building a better future for those in need of love and support. Lastly, here's some exciting news. I've recently finished a new book titled Molding Minds with my good friend Ryan Eubank. This book is a guide to forging your greatest path in life by embracing adversity as your greatest asset. You can get your copy today by simply clicking on the link in the show notes. Let's learn together how challenges can be transformed into stepping stones toward living out your mission in life. Thank you for joining us on this adventure, and let's dive into this episode and explore the endless possibilities that await us on the path to a purposeful life. Welcome to the John Grdina Classroom. It is January 17th, 2024. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. I've been doing the 52 verses for every dad with Dr. Daniel Galasso, and I do appreciate you, all of you, who have been listening to those episodes. So, this is a check-in for how you are doing and your New Year's resolutions. And also, I'm going to speak about two things. And the first thing is called the compound effect. So, what is the compound effect? So, most of us know, going through school, exponential growth and how that works. The curve starts slow, then it goes up the hill fast. But it takes time. It really does, for anything to grow. So money, putting in your 401k, it just takes time for that money to double, triple, quadruple, and then so on. So let's talk about your life. Your life matters, obviously, but are you using the compound effect? And I'm going to tell you how I did, and it really started 5 years ago. Let's start at where I'm at now, and we're going to reverse engineer this whole thing. So in the past 5 years, and I'm going to specifically talk about my last year, I was able to write a book called Molding Minds with my friend Ryan Eubank. I was able to do over 2,000 miles of running and cycling. I was able to do over 50,000 push-ups, almost 10,000 pull-ups, and also my squats. So I have everything recorded every day of what I do. I also did the catechism in a year, which was wonderful, with Father Michael Schmitz. So why am I telling you this? This is part of it. There's more to it. Last year, I assumed a new position as the athletic director at my children's school, Communion of Saints. And I also assumed a new position at my school called Student Success Coordinator. So all these things have happened in my life, and there's more, and I'll tell you. I have increased my relationship with more people, more networking. Also, with my wife, we have gone on more dates than we ever have in our entire life. It's nice to have an in-house babysitter, my daughter, Juliana. But the thing that has transpired of doing all these things in coaching, I haven't talked about coaching. coaching clients, coaching sports, new cross country, basketball, track, and baseball as well. Two different teams. And you're probably wondering, what in the hell are you doing all this stuff? Oh, and I'll also say I read one book per year last year to help me gain more wisdom. So that's took the breath out of me just to explain all that. And it's not to brag. And some of you listening to this are like, John, that's crazy that you do all that. And it's not about bragging. I'm going to tell you why. It's about the compound effect. How does it work? And how can you use it in your life? So I said I was going to reverse engineer this. The year is 2024. Let's go back to 2019 for my life. I had 4 kids at that time. We just had Elijah, our youngest child. I think it was 2018, but he was born. I was finishing up coaching baseball as the head varsity coach at my school. I did not coach. That was my last year. I'm sorry. 2019 was my last year. I stepped down because Elijah was born the previous year. So I physically was out of shape, didn't do anything really, just to run with my players. And I'm going to be honest, I was a slob. I was 20 pounds over my weight that I should be. And I just was weak. I was weak. I was a weak man. Let's just put it that way. Mentally, I was not really sharpening the blade with reading as much as I should, being consistent with that, learning more things. I was really being distracted by the news more so. And that allowed my brain, I call it social media cancer, or just really a plague on your brain, and worrying about things you can't control. So again, this was 2019. I was all wrapped up in politics and prophecies and all this stuff. So that was my mental part. My spiritual part was I was taking baby steps in the right direction. I was praying every morning, and I think that was just about that. I did go to church. I have always been very obedient in going to church once a week, and I really have always enjoyed the presence of God in going to church. So, looking back again at 2019 and how I've used the compound effect and had so much growth in my relationships, my wisdom, in creating books and 40 days of deliverance and running miles and doing all these great things in my life. I'm going to tell you how to just start now. It really starts with just doing one thing. So the 3 things I'm very intentional about is my mind, my body, and my spirit. So if you look at it this way, if you were to take just one thing in each one of those areas, just one, and worked on it every single day consistently, every day, you're going to grow. And then the following year, you just bump it up a little bit, which I'll use an example. Physically, it's always easy to talk about the physical part. So I think it was during COVID, I know it was, in 2020, I started doing 100 push-ups per day. And it was because I knew I was a slob. I was weak. I wanted to get stronger. So I just started doing 100 push-ups today, which led to the next year where I started consistently doing push-ups a day, and I added pull-ups and starting to learn more about the Murph challenge, which is push-ups, pull-ups, and air squats. So then the following year, it just keeps compounding where I joined a challenge, which another thing too, I would highly recommend is join a community to sharpen you with other people, to hold you accountable, to keep growing, where we did 65,000 push-ups in a year. And that was in 2022. So you build this momentum up and it becomes a standard, a way of living. And you dictate on the terms because you're the one choosing it, what you want to do. But you grow in strength. And what happens is you get to the outcome you want, and you're continually transforming, and again, in this part, your body, right? So I've recently, this last year, built a weight room for my wife and I. We work out more. My daughter's using it. So I wonder, going back 5 years ago, of doing nothing and then doing those 100 push-ups per day and being disciplined and consistent with it, how it's morphed or transformed into now having a weight room and doing more physical feats. Now, that's the physical. Let's talk about the mental. Taking classes is very important. Reading books is very important. Being part of a book club or what have you to sharpen your brain, listening to podcasts, all that stuff is great for you. But most people are just do it sporadically. So again, the standard became last year that I wanted to read one book per month. And I have gained so much more wisdom by doing that. And one of the books that I highly, highly recommend for you to have this compound effect and have this vision, which I'll talk about at the end, is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's just a different way for you to think about life and what you can have and God blessing you, but you actually have to write it down and say it. So in my phone, I have this habit share. It's a tracker of all my habits. And one of the things in there, and I'm alluding to how important this is to be accountable to yourself, is I say a daily affirmation about where I want to go in the next 5 years. What does my life want to look like? How can I serve more people? How can I use my talents and my treasures to serve and be creative? So that's where you really have to dial down and dig deep and do the deep work for yourself, is where you want to go. Where's that vision leading you to? Okay. So that's the mental. And the spiritual is so, I mean, it's the most important of all these. Okay. And the spiritual is, for me, is praying 3 times a day, and that's from Daniel. It is to do a devotional using the app Bible, U version. So doing that, getting in the Word, praying more. I'm doing the Bible in the Year with Father Michael Schmitz this year, and what it allows these areas to do is, when your body is sharpened, and I have learned this personally, when your body is sharpened in the morning too, this is what works for me. You sweat, and you feel like your spirit is just on fire. It's alive. So you're listening to, again, the Bible in the Year, you're doing your prayers, you're maybe listening to something else that sharpens your brain. So you're moving your body, you're sweating, you're becoming a sponge, your brain is, and then your spirit is alive, being connected with the Holy Spirit and God. And by doing that day after day after day, the compound effect works, where you're targeting new growth areas. And that's what life's about, transformation. Romans 12:2 is so important, because we want to be transformed by what? By the renewing of our mind. And our mind, because God made us in his image, is so powerful, such a powerful tool. And what we do, instead of just forging through with our mind, is we let our feelings, our emotions, get in the way of our greatness. So listening to David Goggins on the Huberman Lab, the one thing he really talked about was everyone knows what to do. They just don't want to do it because they don't feel like doing it. Now, I agree with David to some degree, and I think what happens with people is they doubt themselves. Their identity of who they are is skewed. So my prayer for you is this, for your identity and belief system, is that you can honor yourself. How do you honor yourself? By saying things that you're going to do and actually do them. When you do this, you honor yourself. When you pray and give thanks to God, you're honoring him. and he'll bless you. You ask for things to transpire in your life that goes along with his will for you, they will come to fruition. But if you have a low, let's say, identity of who you are, none of this stuff will ever take root. You will bear no fruit. And to be fruitful in this life, you have to start small. Work on one row of getting rid of all the rocks and clutter in the dirt. And then you go through and trowel it out and you plant those seeds in a healthy soil. And then it's watered in sunlight. And then you'll have growth. And then from that growth, you'll bear fruit. But most of you are living in this dirty, rocky soil because you believe that's what you are, that you're not worthy. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are worthy. You are a child of God the Most High. So for you to forge this path that you want in alignment with God, you need to start with one row. Clear out the rocks in your life, all that crap, that clutter. It could be watching so much news. It could be having an, something in your life that is, let's just call it what it is. Something in your life that you're addicted to. I don't know what that is for you, but it's a huge boulder in the way of you producing fruit in your life and for others. So to do the deep work and to have the compound effect work, you got to start where you are right now. You have to understand who you are and what crap you got to remove from your life. So I pray for you that you will actually do the work on yourself. And you cannot feel validated by others or things because they're misleading. They'll always fail. You have to do the work with you and God, and it's in that quiet place. Whether that's in solitude of running or walking or just prayer or journaling. Because this life is a vapor, and before you know it, you're too old, and then you say, I wish I would have done this. It's about taking action, right? You have to, if you want to have a fulfilled, fruitful life. So to end on my compound effect, it's so important to have that vision because the vision leads you to where you want to go. So for me, I know where I want to go. I want to continue to create content, coach people, do 40 days deliverance camps, create master classes, speak, do engagements for organizations and for schools. And I want to serve using my gifts in those areas. And with additional income, it's a resource for me to continue to serve at a greater level. So in Matthew 25, and I'll end here, I really want you to meditate on this. Matthew 25. The master was leaving and he gave 5 talents to his first worker. He gave 2 to his second worker and 1 to his third worker. And they did not know how long he was going to be gone. So the one who had 5 doubled it. The one who had 2 doubled it. But the one who had 1 buried it. The master came back and he said to the servant who had 5, show me my money. And he showed him that he doubled it. He honored him. And then he said, well done, my good and faithful servant. To the one who gave 2, he doubled it. And he said the same thing. Well done. Thank you. But the one who had 1 talent, and buried it, he told the master, oh, I knew you were a crude man, and I feared you and all this stuff. And he said, take that money and give it to the one who had interest of 10, who grew it to 10, and throw him out to the darkness where there'll be moaning and gnashing of teeth. Who are you in that story? Are you the first one who grew it by twice as much, or the second who grew it by twice as much, their talents, that money? Or did you bury it because you didn't take action and have wisdom? I don't want to live my life at the end and go and meet God, and He tells me, John, I had so much in store for you, but you were lazy, you were not obedient, you were fearful, and you didn't have the integrity to follow through with all the gifts I gave you. I'd be crushed. Is that you? Put your name in there. Joe, Sally, Bill, Molly. Put your name in there right now. What is God going to say to you? Is it my good and faithful servant? Or throw him or her out into the darkness where there be gnashing of teeth? I don't want to live like that. Your life is too valuable. I pray for you. I do. I pray for you that you will use your gifts and talents, that you will have a belief system that you know you're made in the image of God and that you are worthy, that you'll have peace, fortitude, perseverance, and that you will be the salt and the light in this dark world. We all have a choice every single day to grow, stay the same, or just pack it in and bury our treasures. And I pray that all of you would choose the right path of action, love, hope, and service. May you be blessed the rest of 2024 and all the days of your life. I love you. God bless.